the results of those investigations. Church records have only been fully investigated by an independent source in 6 instances, 3 grand juries and 3 attorney general reports. Without exceptions, the sexual exploitation of children by the diocese far exceeded anything reported publicly by those dioceses. The degree of depravity of the crimes and heinousness of the abuse makes reading of the reports almost impossible by the average person because it is sickening. In all 6 of these investigations, it was reported that the diocese covered up and reassigned priests who had been credibly accused of raping children, and the diocese failed to report the cases to authorities. Many of these dioceses had written policies on how to handle sexual abuse complaints. Boston had a written policy since 1992. Oh well. This all indicates that when an independent investigation looks carefully at the records of the church, in all cases they find excessive lying and cover-up by the church officials. They find that the laws are insufficient to protect children, and they come to an understanding that victims find it difficult to come forward, as is the case with my husband and so many that you've heard today. This view is supported by the following quotes from the Philadelphia grand jury report that studied hundreds of abuse cases. In a state where the SOL was 30 years of age, quote, "The experts have told us that this statute is still too short. We ourselves have seen that many victims do not come forward until deep into their 30s, 40s, and even later. Because the harm inflicted by child sexual abuse is so deep, and child victims are so vulnerable, the existence of any statute of limitations, however long, virtually ensures that some crimes will not be timely reported, and too many abusers will never have to pay for their crimes. It is time to stop giving a pass to child abusers who count on the statute of limitations and the fears and immaturity of their victims to avoid criminal liability," unquote. And I think it is time to stop giving a pass to those people who enabled them. It is apparent from around the country that the church was involved in covering up the crime of child sexual abuse, and that victims simply cannot forward in the time allotted by the current SOL. Lest you think that the Diocese of Maryland has not participated in a similar cover-up, I would ask you to read page 40 of the Philadelphia Grand Jury Report. This is from the section entitled Overview of the Cover-Up by Archdiocese Officials. Quote, "Once in a while, priests engaged so publicly in abusive acts that their crimes could not be concealed, such as when police in Rockville, Maryland, stopped Father Thomas Durkin, a Philadelphia priest who was visiting the area. In the middle of the night, at the time of the police encounter, the priest was chasing a half-dressed 16-year-old boy through the streets. The teenager had run from their shared bedroom to escape Father Durkin's sexual advances, and in that case, the Archdiocese had to rely on the local diocese to intervene to keep the police from taking action. That would be the Archdiocese of Washington. Yes, I just strongly urge you to support Senate Bill 575. And one thing I've learned in my lobbying process is a word that I really don't want to have to explain to my grandchildren, and that is the drawer. Because that would be a big old slap in the face to all of the victims who were here today and touched your hearts, I'm sure. Please don't let it sit in the drawer, because if anything is unconstitutional, it's the drawer. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Don't you so